Hari Om. So the question being asked is, I inquire who am I? Mind becomes silent. Sometimes I am able to stay in silence. After I come back again, I am same. Mind is noisy. So this actually a correct understanding of self-inquiry process you have to do. We think that self-inquiry is to silence the mind. No. It is to become aware who is observing the silence of the mind. I'll give an example. Okay. I remember a story of Kung Fu Panda movie. Kung Fu Panda Part 2 movie. The Kung Fu Panda says, I want to understand secret recipe. For that, I have to sit in a cave and meditate for 10 years. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I is not a japa. Who am I is not a practice. Who am I is simply shifting in awareness, attention to who are you. I'll give you an example. What is in my hand? Apple. Right? What is in my hand? Nothing. Okay. So there's an apple in my hand. There's nothing in my hand. So there's a presence of apple in my hand, the absence of apple in my hand. So one who notices presence and absence is not both. The presence of apple is noticed, the absence of apple is noticed. Then the question asks the question, who am I? If you ask the question, who am I? Definitely you are not apple. Because when the apple is absent also you are there. In the presence you are there, in the absence you are there. That's why you are not apple. Are you clear? Is the conclusion clear? In the presence of apple I am there. In the absence of apple is there. I am the one who is aware of presence and absence of apple. So if you ask the question, who am I? You will not come with the answer, I am body, I am apple. I am the one who is aware of presence of apple and absence of apple. That means I am different from apple. Right? So the presence in Sanskrit is called Anvaya. Absence is called Vetireka. One who is aware of Anvaya and Vetireka is real I. Sakshi. One who is aware of presence and absence is called Sakshi. Do not make confusion. The simple logic we follow. Simple logic is whoever is that, whoever is aware of presence and absence is different from the object. If I am aware of apple and I am aware of absence of apple, I am not the apple. I am the observer of apple. That's all is the logic up to this point. Correct? So this logic, presence and absence is called Anvaya and Vetireka. Are you clear? One who is aware of presence and absence, the question who am I is to become aware of one who is aware of presence and absence. So it is very easy in the world. It's very easy in the world. Okay, I am aware of this flower. The flower is not there, I am aware. So that's why I am different from flower. The here, I am becomes a body. As a body, I am identifying the body and I am saying, I am aware of the flower, I am aware of the absence of the flower. Are you clear? So the logic is clear. To find out who am I, you have to become aware of presence and absence. One who is aware of presence and one who is aware of absence is different from presence and absence. Is this logic up to this point clear? So now, let me ask you. In deep sleep, what is there? In deep sleep, what is there? Nothing. In waking state, what is there? Body and the world is there. So in deep sleep, nothing is there. It's called Vetireka. In the waking state, body and the world is there, called Anvaya. Who is aware of these? One who is aware of this is present in both the states. He is different from both the states. Are we clear? One who is aware of these is different from both the states, Anvaya and Vetireka. So that is I. Definitely it's not body, because body was absent in the deep sleep. The world was absent from the deep sleep. You have to apply the Anvaya Vetireka logic to find out who am I. Where is breaking what? This understanding is you are trying to find out use self-enquiry to make the mind silent. One who is aware of silence of the mind and one who is aware of noise in the mind is the real I. Is the logic clear? Okay, it is not the purpose of who am I is not to silence the mind. Purpose of the who am I is to inquire, is to find out one who is aware of silence of the mind, one who is aware of noise of the mind is I, which is not affected by I. Now your problem is not the I, your problem is I thought. When the mind is noisy, there's a thought called I thought. You identify the I thought because you're not applying the logic. The I thought appears and disappears. One who is aware of appearance and disappearance is real I. So this logic, it becomes very clear in the mind. Then mind will not identify the I thought. Slowly, its false identification I thought drops. That's called self-realization.
So is it slow or is it immediate?
Is it slow or it's immediate? You come from IIT. There are some smart guys who will understand slowly. Someone is fast. Someone gets understood. It all depends on the individual.
So the question is, when I ask who am I and I say as a self,
that when I ask who am I, any answer you get from the mind is not real I. You can you have asked the question who am I? Okay, you can say I am the self, I am Brahman. So all these are from the mind. When you ask question who am I, you have to apply the Anvaya Vetireka logic and understand one who is observing the Anvaya Vetireka is I. It's not to get an answer for the who am I question. Now, I can go. Okay. So it is not to understand who am I, because there's nobody called I. So let me give you an example. In deep sleep, there's no world. In the waking state, there's a world and body. One who is aware of the waking state and deep sleep is definitely not the body by the same logic, Anvaya Vetireka. Now, who is that I? Nobody. It's not a body. Who is that I? Nanu, Nanembudu, Nanalla, Ideha, Manabuddhi, Nanalla, Sachidananda Atma, Shivanannane, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness. Is the logic clear? So you are using who am I to silence the mind. Okay, think that I'm the one who is silencing the mind. And actually, you are the one who is observing the silence of the mind. And who is the observing silence of the mind? Nobody. So this logic of Anvaya Vetireka has to be Anvaya Vetireka, presence and absence. Who is aware of presence and absence has to go deep into you. Then you will not identify the I thought. Also understand when the I thought is generated, which is false I thought is generated. When you interact with the world, you become the body. Definitely body consciousness is required. So the mind records, body is I. Mind records, body is the I when you are interacting in the world. There's a sense of I is recorded. I am the body. Okay, understand? So now you are there, even when the body is not there. The mind does not record you are not. You are there when the body is not there. So mind is recording partial truth, false truth. Now in the false truth, a false identity is created. To remove that false identity, you have to tell the mind, boss, I am there in the presence of object world, in the absence of the world. So you are correcting a false logic. That is called self-enquiry. Self-enquiry doesn't give an answer because there's nobody to give an answer. There's no I card, there's no identity called I there. There's a witness is there, observer is there, Sakshi is there. Is the logic clear?
Yeah. So for the when you say the ego is burnt or dropped, that you say that when you ask who am I, the ego is dropped.
Don't ask who am I. Understand who am I. Very simple. The moment you ask who am I, SMS. So people are using who am I, thinking that they'll stop the mind. Mind becomes silent. Mind doesn't become silent. The who am I has to be used to understand. The mind has to understand that mind is creating a false identity called I by recording only the presence and ignoring the absence. So the presence and absence logic has to be clear to the mind. Then what happens? The mind knows, oh, I'm telling the untruth. Then it will start, the identification of the false I will start coming down. So is this a gradual process or fast process? It is simple process. It's not a complex process. Now is it fast or simple? It can be now itself. Now itself we can understand who are you. Simple question. In deep sleep, who are there? What is there? Nothing. In the waking state, what is there? Body and mind. Now one who is observing this is in both states. Who is that? It's no body, not an entity. So then not an entity or no body is you. Very simple logic. This logic has to sink deep into the mind. Mana eva karanam manushanam bandha mokshayo. Mind alone is the cause of bondage and liberation. Mind is an instrument. As an instrument, it is a defective programming. It is only recognizing the presence part and not recognizing the absence part. So the program is corrected and mind is told that I am observer of these two. The jnana sets in the mind. That's all. Atma doesn't require a jnana. The correction has to happen in the mind. The correction has to happen in the mind that I am observer of the mind rather than the mind. Is the logic clear?
Yeah. So inquiry does not result in anything.
People have a lot of misconceptions on meditation, spirituality. Unless you understand Anmaya Vyatireka logic, you will not understand meditation and enlightenment. I am meditating, my mind has to become silent. Why? You are the observer of silent state of mind and waking state of mind. That's why Ramana Maharshi, when he says, he doesn't say, close your eyes and meditate. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? No. Have you seen Ramana Maharshi's eyes closed anytime? Buddha's eyes are closed. Okay? And other Ramana Maharshi's eyes are not closed at all. Self-enquiry need not be done with closed eyes. They say people who are fed up of meditation, they'll jump with joy when I say that. Anybody has a question on Zoom? Dr. Vipin, Satyavati. It's not a mental questioning. Okay. So, Dr. Vipin, you are asking the question. The purpose of the enquiry, once you ask the question, the entity called I disappears because it is not there. It was never there. The entity called I is a false identity created by the mind. Mind has a false logic. False logic is what is there in the presence only I am. What is there in absence, it will neglect. The Atma is there in the presence and absence. So I thought is only related to present state. It is not related to deep sleep state because it's absent. So basically, but I as a Sakshi is present in both states, presence and absence. So mind creates a false logic. The purpose of self-enquiry is to destroy the false logic of the mind. Then mind will not identify with the only false identity I which is created. All this knowledge happens in the mind only. Am I clear?
Yes, yes, Guruji.
So we are
Yes,
trying to
Guruji.
find somebody called Sakshi. You don't have to find Sakshi. You have to understand false logic of the mind. One who is aware of the presence and absence is called Sakshi. So mind is creating false logic. Only it is taking care of presence. It is not, it is ignoring the absence. Am I clear?
Yes, yes, Guruji.
Okay.
So there is nothing that is dropped.
False identity is dropped. There's nothing that is dropped. The false identity created by the mind is dropped. Mind, okay. Stop this. I'll repeat again.